The Miami Dolphins, the team that just
yeah.
hung a 70 spot, getting 2.5 at the Bills this week. Does this line stink or what?
Yes. I was going to say that. I think the Bills are the right side. Do not be fooled, okay? Don't be fooled by one game as a sample size. I feel like this is going to be a sharp versus square play, right? This is what's going to happen. The public's going to be all over the Dolphins, and the sharps are going to be on the Bills. How many casual bettors are going to go, bro, are you serious? The Dolphins are getting points in Buffalo? Bro, they scored 70 last week, bro. Like, that's going to be the handicap for so many people. But the Bills look dominant against the Commanders. I know it's the Commanders. The Broncos aren't any good either, by the way. They're a bad football team. They're 0-3. That defense was supposed to be good. Now, Mike McDaniel is an absolute wizard on offense, but the Bills' defense is no joke. And what impressed me watching Buffalo last week, because they were here in D.C., is that Washington front four is about as good as it gets, and they kept Josh Allen clean. I mean, clean. There were a number of Buffalo players after the game who said, it was raining here in D.C., it was nasty. There were so many Buffalo players who said, we wore all white today. I don't have a single grass stain on me. They played great at the line of scrimmage, in the trenches. I think that might be the difference here. Obviously, it's in Buffalo. Yeah, I think the Bills are the right side.
But here's the pushback that I would give you. Remember that Patriots-Dolphins game where I believe the Dolphins, maybe they were laying 2.5, and it felt like the same deal where the sharps were on the Patriots and the squares were on the Dolphins. And then you see that one unfolded exactly like a square would imagine. The Dolphins still won it, albeit it was a much lower scoring game. So I think it's going to be a stay away from me. Like, I don't think that I can trust the Bills enough, because what have we seen from the Bills this year? Like, they beat up on the Commanders, but still, I feel like even the best defenses in the NFL cannot stop guys like Tyreek Hill. And you've got to remember, when the Dolphins hung a 70 spot, they didn't even have Jalen Waddle on the field.
It's crazy.
So it just feels like there is so much offensive talent there that maybe they're not going to hang 70, but still, it's a very good team. And I'm not sure if we can really trust the Bills, because in big situations, we've seen Josh Allen turn over the football. Like, are we just forgetting some of these games that we've seen from the Bills thus far? Like, yeah, they beat up on the Commanders, but lost to the Jets, even when they didn't have Aaron Rodgers. And I know the Jets defense is probably way better than what we see from the Dolphins, but still, I don't think I can make myself take the Bills here, even though you're right. It will be the sharp versus square play of the week.
I think Kansas is the right side here. 17 points. Jalen Daniels is legit for the Jayhawks. He is very good at quarterback. He can hurt you with his legs. He is an underrated passer. I think this line is way too big. And you know, I'm big on my Longhorns, and Texas is really good. And that defense, if you haven't watched the Texas defense, it is no joke. Better than where the offense is at this point. They have a lot of weapons on offense. But I think Kansas is the right side here. This is way too many points for the Longhorns to be giving up. Oh, Double D! Are you doing it again? I'm trying to have a mild-mannered Tuesday morning. I'm fighting off the Swifties to my right, fighting off the Swifties to my left. Well, let me tell you guys something. You mess with the bull, you get the horns, and that goes for Kansas down in Austin, and that goes for all you Colters coming at me on the gram, because I'm a Longhorn. Now I'm saying we're going to cover, and I'll come right back at you. All right? Double D, I was trying to be calm there. You got me all riled up. I think Kansas is the right side.
It does feel like a lot of points.
It does.
Do you think this is a game where Texas will be sleepwalking through this one at all? Because I think that is your first kind of thought when you see Texas playing a lesser opponent. But you're right. Kansas has been much better since Jalen Daniels has entered the fold. Last season, this team was 6-7, but definitely a feisty bunch. And I think the question mark this year is, who have they really played that you can do like a barometer on how good they are compared to Texas? Because Texas has had a bunch of good games. Oh, I just looked at the schedule. Guess what game is after this for Texas? Oklahoma.
I mean,
if I'm not mistaken, that's a big rivalry game. Is it not?
It is, but here's the thing, too. First of all, Kansas has beaten Texas the past couple of years. And also, Kansas is undefeated and ranked number 24 in the country. So I know it's a look-ahead spot, but I also think that – so this is another reason why I think it is a look-ahead spot. I think Kansas will bring it. But I'm hoping Texas will not look ahead here because there's a reason why Kansas is ranked, why they haven't lost a game.
And let's start with your Ravens. Ravens matching up with the Browns this week. Ravens getting 2.5 points on the road here in a divisional matchup. Who do you like?
So the look-ahead line in this game, guys, was Ravens were actually favored 2.5 before they played the Colts, lost outright, and the Browns played the Titans and won rather easily. Ravens were favored in this game. I can't justify a 5-point line movement, especially when we know the Ravens are just, I mean, they're dealing with so many injuries. I think they could get a couple key pieces back in this game. I think Marlon Humphrey's probably going to return. I think one of their offensive linemen are going to return. Odell, who we just talked about, I think he could play in this game. So I think the Ravens coming off a bad home loss, they bounce back. They go up to Cleveland. Like you said, Chelsea, divisional matchup. I think they can win this game outright. So, again, the fact they were favored in this game, Browns play well, Ravens don't play well, and now all of a sudden the Browns are favored by 2.5. Really hoping we get a 3 in this game, so I would hold off. It's still early in the week. It's only a Tuesday. Maybe some more people bet the Browns and you can get a 3, but I'm definitely leaning towards the Ravens. I think they win this game. I think they win it outright.
PG, we were just talking about this next game in the previous segment. Steelers at the Texans. And the upstart quarterback out of Ohio State, C.J. Stroud. I kind of like the under here just based on the defenses involved and the Steelers' offense doesn't move it, and Texans and Stroud trying to get something done against Pittsburgh. What do you think?
I kind of like the under, Jenks. I really like the Texans in this game at +3.
Oh, wow.
I think they can win it outright. So one of the things I start looking for, guys, in the NFL, now that we've kind of had multiple games under our belt, we've had 3 games with all these teams, when a team plays back-to-back primetime games, right, games that you really get up for, you prep hard during the week, you really want to win, when you come off of those games and you kind of play a 1 o'clock game on the road and you play against the Texans and it's really not one of those teams, it's not that game that you had circled on the schedule at the beginning of the year, I think it's a great spot to fade Pittsburgh, right? You play Monday night against the Browns, big game, divisional rival, you don't want to go 0-2. Then you go on the road, you play Vegas on Sunday night, big game, obviously tons of Steelers fans there. Now you go on the road, you play the Texans, who have been very competitive so far this season. Like you said, Jenks, Stroud's been very good. They also have the Ravens next week, and Steelers-Ravens, as we know, one of the biggest rivalries in football. So I think it's a great spot to fade Pittsburgh because it could be a letdown off 2 back-to-back primetime games, and then also a look ahead to the Ravens. And Houston just showed us they're more than capable than knocking off a team that we all think is pretty good. So I like the Texans +3. I know a lot of people think this spread might be a little short because Pittsburgh has beaten the Browns and the Raiders on the road in back-to-back games. But I like the Texans here. Again, +3. Think they win it outright.
So some prime candidates. I think the Rams +1.5 at the Colts. Are we really sold on the Colts being a team that needs to be favored in this matchup? I think that's your first question. Because anytime you think a team has a chance of winning a game outright, when you get that extra 6 points in your favor, obviously that is a good spot. So the Rams are coming off a short week. That is a tough spot. Then they have to go to Indianapolis. I think that's why they're underdogs in this game. But still, if you can get them at +7.5, we have seen Sean McVay's team be very feisty in this position. And even he's going for field goals and touchdowns just to, like, it feels like he's trying to cover a number. So the Rams +7.5, I like that one. And then what do you think of this one? The Ravens getting 2.5 on the road at the Browns. I feel like this game is going to be a field goal game either way. If you can get the Ravens at +8.5, going through the key numbers of 3, 6, and 7 in a divisional matchup, yeah, I like that one as well.
Oh, I like that. Especially when you talk about that division. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're ever looking to tease a certain game, always look at the black and blue division. I feel like those games, the spread is always set. 2.5, 3, 3.5. It's a big spread. Maybe it's 4. And they tend to be close just because of the way that the teams in that particular division play. So That's one of those divisions I always look at if you're looking for a really good teaser spot. I think that's spot on.
Yeah, especially when you're getting that type of spread, and especially in a low-scoring game, because like you said, it's usually a tough physical matchup, and the total in that game is 41.5. So you're also getting points at a premium. Jenks, I almost fell into the square trap because there's another good teaser spot for a game that already has a fishy line. Do we think the Dolphins are getting blown out by the Bills? Because if you put a Dolphins teaser in, you can get them all the way up to 8.5. Do we think the Bills are winning this game by 9?
By 9? No.
Seems like a lot.
That's a lot of points.